Hey there. Welcome to a very short episode. Halo Infinite just released, and I have a slight problem. I can't play Halo 5. And apparently we need the story of Halo 5 to understand Halo Infinite. So, we need to dive into Halo 5's story, which apparently is shit. I mean, I dived into a couple of reviews, and the consent of Planet Earth it's shit. Still, we need to dive into it. So, Halo 5, which is not available for PC. I mean, we did try. Sponsored by AMD, okay. In German. Halo 5 Guardians. We tried to play it in the browser, it didn't work. Is a ninth installment in the Halo franchise. The second game, the Reclaimer saga. Yeah, we ended our original saga. Guardians is set a year after Halo 4 and follows Fireteam Osiris, who are tasked with hunting the Master Chief and Blue Team, who have gone AWOL in search of Cortana, following her presumed demise. Wait, the Master Chief... Originally alluded to in a teaser trailer, blah blah blah, we don't give a shit. Okay, nobody cares. Plot. That's it. Halo 5 Guardians features the largest ensemble cast of characters in a Halo game. We have the primary protagonist, Spartan 2 Super Soldier Master Chief Petty Officer John 117. It has noticed begun to question all of the former beliefs. Let's see. John 117. We know him, the Master Chief. All of his former beliefs following the events of the next 72 hours. A story arc of the comic series Halo Escalation, during which he reunites with his long-time Spartan 2 unit Blue Team, comprising Kelly, Frederick, and Linda. This is Kelly, Frederick, and Linda. Halo 5 marks the in-game debut of Blue Team, who fight alongside the Master Chief throughout the campaign. Halo 5 also features another playable protagonist, Spartan Jameson Locke, a legendary manhunter on a mission to find the Master Chief after Blue Team disappears and several colonies are expectedly attacked. Jameson Locke. That dude. So, Locke is accompanied by Fireteam Osiris, which includes Spartans Edward Buck, Castle, Holly Tanaka, and Olympia Vale. You know, Castle. Like, Castle. You all know him. If you don't know the television series Castle, go watch it. Holly Tanaka, I don't know her. And Olympia Vale, I also don't know her. Random protagonists. But this is Castle. Alrighty. Bye. Okay. Nope. Alrighty. Locke's role in the story is to act as a counterpart for John 117's, the Master Chief's legendary and larger-than-life character, as well as a vehicle to contextualize... What the fuck? Dude. Who cares? Contextualize... This story is about the Master Chief. Contextualize both the Master Chief and the wider story from an outsider perspective. Nobody cares. We want the Master Chief's perspective. Locke was introduced in Ridley Scott's digital series Halo Night. What? Ridley Scott's? What? Ridley Scott is responsible for Halo? Of course he is. That doesn't surprise me. Is he? Halo. What? Lies! There is not one single word Halo in his Wikipedia article. Okay. So he made a digital series and Wikipedia doesn't give a shit. 343 Industries stressed that Locke would not be replacing John 117 as a protagonist. Yeah, nobody would play Halo if the Master Chief would have been replaced by someone else. Much like that of Halo 2. The campaign of Halo 5 alternates between the perspective of the two main characters. I don't care. I don't care. Yes, loss of Cortana. I don't care. Okay, plot synopsis. Piano music plays in Dr. Catherine Halsey's office on Reach as she looks at a smiling Cortana just before she transfers to an armored matrix. Armored matrix? What is that? Ah, those things that Master Chief used to transport stuff. Okay. Blah, 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 blah. Fireteam Osiris is... Okay, this episode might take a while. Fireteam Osiris is deployed by the UNSC Infinity to Kamchatka to extract Halsey from Jewel Madama's forces because she has information on a series of Forerunner attacks on human colonies. Jewel Madama. Oh dear. Ooh. Fighting their way to Halsey's coordinates, they find that the Covenant are under attack from their own Promethean forces, which have inexplicably turned on them, weakening Madama's hold on the Covenant. Fighting through Covenant and Promethean forces, Osiris finally kills Madama and his guards and secure Halsey. Arriving on Infinity, Halsey immediately begins asking Captain Lasky, how far has she gone? To Osiris's confusion. Meanwhile, Blue Team insert on the captured Onai research vessel Argent Moon. Argent Moon. That looks cool. If the browser would load the image. Are we in 2003? I mean, this is also a critique point that Halo 5 was in graphical and graphics comparison standards subpar experience. Alrighty. To secure it from the Covenant forces that are stripping it for parts. While fighting through the Covenant scavengers, the Master Chief experiences a vision of Cortana activating an enormous winged machine and telling him that Meridian is next. What is Guardian Custode? Simulant Guardians are powerful Forerunner constructs built to enforce the mantle. Whoa, that low. Could you please load the darn image? Thank you. Okay. So Cortana would envision. He and Blue Team continue the mission, deciding to scuttle Argent Moon to deny it to an incoming Covenant fleet. So they destroyed it. Blue Team set the reactor to overload and prepare to leave aboard an experimental Oni Prowler. Prowler? It's an O, not an A. With the Master Chief reassigning them to Meridian against their superior orders, hoping to get there before whatever team the UNSC decides to send and investigates whether Cortana is still really active. Aboard Infinity, Halsey reveals that Cortana has somehow gained access to the Domain, a galaxy-spanning repository of Forerunner knowledge. Worried that she is manipulating the Master Chief, Osiris is sent after Blue Team with orders to bring them back, hoping to neutralize them with armor restraints. Arriving at Meridian, they descend the Meridian space elevator, and are contacted by Governor Sloan. And who is that? Governor Sloan is an artificial intelligence construct who was a leader of the independent which he created. Meridian. That looks hideous. 2002 graphics. That does not surprise me. Okay, goodbye. Who grudgingly accepts their presence in exchange for assistance, fighting off Promethean forces attacking the colonists. Fighting with the colony's Liang Dortmund Corporation. What, Dortmund? That's a city in Germany. Interesting. Security forces, Osiris fend off the Prometheans long enough for the colonists to get to safety, discovering that Governor Sloan is actually an aging smart AI undergoing rampancy and pick up clues that lead them to apogee. What is it with this game and names? Was a primary settlement of Meridian. A vast forerunner structure was located under apogee state. What is this? I'm still not impressed with the graphics. I mean, it's quite obvious it's not available for PC. It was released for an aging Xbox, so that does not surprise me at all that the graphics are a bit mushy. Okay, so we have an evil AI, he's aging, he created a colony, and now shit's going problematic. Okay. Governor Sloan arranges for a Pelican to take them to Apogee, where they find the Prowler, and that Blue Team has already descended into the planet. Seemingly without opposition, Osiris follow, fighting through more Promethean forces, including the Warden Eternal, who introduces himself as Cortana's servant and engages Osiris to prevent them from catching up with Blue Team. What? Warden Eternal? Cortana's servant? Wait, why is she now the supreme commander of the Forerunners? Obliterating humanity? What? No wonder everyone doesn't like Halo. This story doesn't make sense. Okay. And defeating the Warden, of course, Osiris catches Blue Team moving through a series of portals to try to reach the Guardian. Locke is the only member of Osiris who is able to reach Blue Team and engages the Master Chief in hand-to-hand combat. What? He is defeated after damaging the Master Chief's armor. What? No one damages the Master Chief's armor. Oh, come on. What is this? Some random dude damaging the Master Chief? I mean, this alone. You see this? Locke damaging the Master Chief. This, even in 2 sentences after each other, this is not possible. I mean, what? Locke was defeated by the Master Chief. The end. Neutralized with his own armor restraint, allowing Blue Team to board the Guardian, which begins charging its slipspace drive, devastating Meridian with EMP shockwaves. Governor Sloan reveals that Cortana had contacted him earlier, allowing him to evacuate as many of his people off-world as he could, and that he intends to join her New Dawn. What? What is that? Disappearing during the evacuation? Oh, do I really want to play Halo Infinite? I mean, this story is ridiculous. Hopefully they won't continue it. Disappearing during the evacuation as Osiris climbs the space elevator to reach the Pelican. Aboard Infinity, Halsey deduces that another dormant Guardian lies beneath the surface of Sunayon on Sangelios. Moreover, Roland figures out that the distinctive sound the Guardian gave off during its activation was actually a set of slipspace coordinates, and that if they can feed it into the Shangelios Guardian, they can follow Blue Team to their destination. That's very convenient. Captain Lasky hopes that Osiris can catch a ride aboard it to Blue Team's location, but is reluctant to involve the UNSC in Shangelios' civil war. Blue Team arrive on a lush Forerunner world, noting the arrival of numerous Guardians. Numerous Guardians? What? But why? They are led to a console by a familiar signal from their training and encounter ragtag Covenant survivors dragged through in the wake of multiple Guardian slipspace drives, who believe that the planet was promised by the prophets. What? They encounter the Warden in another body, who introduces himself as Cortana's defender. Why is Cortana now the supreme everything? What? How does this make sense in a wake of Halo 4. I mean, okay, she got a little bit, oh, yes, rampage, and my time is coming, and a little bit madness is taking me, but just because a little madness is taking you doesn't mean that you instantly become the supreme patriarch of the supernatural evil Omega species dominating the galaxy. Okay. As Blue Team proceeds closer to Cortana's location, the Warden interrogates the Master Chief over his intentions for Cortana. When John responds that he intends to take her home, the Warden announces that they have become a threat to his and Cortana's goal and uses his Promethean forces in an attempt to stop them. Wait, but he's a servant of Cortana, so Cortana wants to kill the Master Chief? What? It's ridiculous. After defeating this iteration of the Warden, they are contacted by Cortana, who explains that she arrived the planet aboard the wreckage of the Didact's ship after it was dragged through slipspace, and that rampancy was cured by accessing the domain. Wait, if it was cured, why is she now the evil overlord of darkness? She leads Blue Team across the planet to meet her at the access point to the domain itself. The UNSC prepare to insert Osiris onto Sanghelios with an escort from the Swords of Sanghelios. Inserting near Sunayon, this sounds ridiculous, they find that the Covenant has launched a last-ditch effort to kill the Arbiter and reverse its recent fortunes. Oh, the Arbiter is still around, cool. Osiris fight their way to the Elder Council chamber, hoping that the Arbiter can help them fight their way to the Guardian beneath Sunayon, who lies in Covenant hands. They arrive in time to evacuate the Arbiter in a phantom to Swords of Sanghelios camp. Who are the Swords of Sanghelios? An alliance of Sangheli keeps and the preeminent governing body on Sanghelios, as well as many Sangheli colonies. Yay, it's not loading. What the heck? What's happened here? I can't go back and it's not loading. Okay. And no image for us. In an originally ancient order, they were reinstated in the aftermath of the Great Schism by the latest Arbiter and the organizational leader, Tel Vadam. Okay. So, sub-covenant, religious, ancient organization led by the Arbiter. Or, well, appointed, made, founded. Okay. During tense moment between Locke and the Arbiter. What do they want with this Locke? Nobody cares about Locke. Cortana reveals her presence on the planet. Halsey figures out that if they can acquire a constructor sentinel from one of the Forerunner ruins scattered across the planet, they can use it to activate the Guardian. Which Guardian? Didn't the story just say that there were like a dozen Guardians? Wake of multiple Guardian slipspace drives. So if there are multiple Guardians, why care for one? I don't know. Osiris are deployed to recover one from a nearby Forerunner facility, fighting their way through Promethean and Covenant supported by Arbiter's air support, which engages the Covenant... Wait, what? Why are they fighting the Arbiter now? I mean, they're trying to find the Master Chief because they want to bring him home because Cortana turned evil. But why are they now shooting at the Arbiter? What? Which engages the Covenant Kraken Walker to draw it out of the path. The Kraken positions itself between Osiris and the Constructor's location, very convenient, forcing them to board and destroy it. They recover the Constructor and deliver it to the Arbiter's base, where Halsey reprograms it to activate the Guardian. The Constructor immediately sets about its task, and Arbiter leads his forces in a massive assault on Sunayon to destroy what remains of the Covenant on Sanghelios. Wait, what? The Kraken, okay, positioned to recover the Constructor, delivered to the Arbiter's base. What? Okay, so who recovers the Constructor? Okay, so the Arbiter's forces, the assault of Sanghelios, recover the constructor, and deliver to the Arbiter's base. And the Arbiter is working together with Halsey, apparently, because Halsey reprograms to activate the Guardian. So Halsey and the Arbiter are working together. The Constructor immediately sets about its task, and Arbiter leads his forces in a massive assault on Sunion to destroy what remains of the Covenant on Sanghelios. Osiris fight their way through, assisting the Arbiter's warriors, but their priority is to reach the Guardian above all else. The Warden leads Promethean forces in Sunion to try to stop Osiris, but is again defeated. The Warden seems to be weak, but what? I don't understand this. I thought the Warden is Cortana's servant. And Osiris are the guys that want the Master Chief to blah blah blah. But I thought the Warden wanted to kill the Master Chief. Why is he now killing Osiris even though Osiris wants to get rid of the Master Chief? Isn't that counterproductive? Why fight the enemy of your enemy? Well, as the Sunion Guardian activates, it charges its slipspace drive, creating similar EMP pulses as those which on Meridian, devastating Sunion and the Covenant forces. Commander Palmer and Dr. Halsey use a pelican to allow Osiris to board the Guardian, just as it enters slipspace. The Arbiter watches them, commanding his forces to clear Sunion of the last of the Covenant. Osiris manages to safely lead the Guardian and land on the Forerunner planet. Well done. They attempt to contact the Master Chief, only to be greeted by its monitor, 031 exuberant witness, who is horrified by the Warden and Cortana locking her out of her systems. Oh, we now have a female monitor, and their plan for created to attain the mantle, using the Guardians to enforce the peace across inhabited space on behalf of organic races, whether they want their protection or not. She assists them as they fight their way across Genesis to reach the gateway, a link to the domain, noticing that Cortana has actually been leading blue teams in circles to buy herself time. Osiris and Exuberant fight through more of the Warden's forces, who are buying Cortana more time to bring the domain systems online. That's also very convenient. Osiris meets up with Blue Team, offering to help the Master Chief stop Cortana, but Cortana translocates Blue Team away. I mean, the story is really weak. The Warden again confronts Blue Team, and confusing, but not in a good way. I mean, watch Westworld. It's a bit confusing, multiple storylines, but they all feel interconnected, and in the end you have this grand revelation. I'm pretty sure Halo will never have that. So confusing people and then failing to enlighten them is not a good way. The Warden again confronts Blue Team, trying to convince Cortana that they are a threat to her plan, but she destroys his new body herself to protect Blue Team. Okay, so the Warden thinks he's Cortana's servant, but Cortana doesn't like him. The Master Chief reveals that no matter how warm her greeting, he has been suspicious of Cortana since he what? Set foot into what? The Master Chief criticizing Cortana? What is this? Is this an imposter, Master Chief? The Master Chief reveals that he trusts Cortana with his heart. He would never doubt her. Everything else is fake. And recognizes that she has been attempting to manipulate him through psychological tactics, confronting her about the casualties the Guardians have been inflicting as Promethean forces renew their attack. Kelly 087 speculates that Cortana is allowing the Warden his periodic attempts to keep Blue Team distracted, despite destroying the Warden's next body again as he tries to kill Blue Team. The Warden claims that while the Librarian intended the mantle to be passed down and prepared humanity for the task, the mantle itself was not meant for humanity but for their creations, AIs. What is the mantle? What is the mantle? The mantle. The mantle of responsibility. Oh, right, this ancient voodoo bullshit of the ancient prophets in the first Halo games. A philosophy originating with the precursors of, yes, the mantle of responsibility. Responsibility to look after all creation. Whatever. No, sorry. The mantle itself was not meant for humanity. The Master Chief was never the reclaimer. Cortana was. He repeatedly appeals to Cortana, urging her to recognize Blue Team as a threat, as he engages Blue Team in multiple bodies simultaneously. I like the fact that nobody really liked the Warden as an enemy, and apparently 343 Studios believes it's a wise idea to now let the player, you, fight the Warden a dozen times in 40 different bodies. It's ridiculous. Cortana counters that if he trusts her to use the domain, he should also trust her judgment of the Master Chief and Blue Team. And recognizes. I mean, I've seen nothing of this game, except the first 2 minutes that we played with a browser that didn't work out. And just by reading this summary, I can already understand why people believe it's ridiculous. Cortana counters that if he trusts her to use the domain, he should also trust her judgment of the Master Chief and Blue Team, and recognizes that he is using her for his own ends. Finally confronting Cortana, reborn, and with a new holographic avatar to represent her change, John tries to talk Cortana out of her plan, but is instead trapped inside a Forerunner cryptum. What is a cryptum? Ah, the Odidact's combat cryptum. This thing. Okay, we've seen that one before. And Osiris follows, witnessing deployment of the Guardians and the arrival of hundreds of AIs from across human space to join Cortana's new faction. Oh dear. As Osiris tried to prevent the cryptum from departing with Cortana, she attempts to use their individual histories to demoralize them, and accuses them of being pale imitations of her, Spartan. Locke, we don't want him, retorts that Dr. Halsey trusts them to bring the Master Chief back. Cortana tells him that she will punish Halsey soon enough. Exuberant Witness continues to help them progress, attempting to reach the cryptum. Cortana announces that she intends to put the Master Chief and Blue Team in stasis for 10,000 years. What? Giving herself time to consolidate her grip on the galaxy, as she begins to leave Genesis aboard. What? Cortana stasis Master Chief 10,000. What? That's ridiculous. Cortana begins broadcasting across the galaxy, promising an era of peace and prosperity under her benevolent rule, and warning that those who resist will be conquered through force. Cortana sends her guardians ahead across the galaxy and begins to follow, but discovers to her horror that Osiris have restored control of Genesis to Exuberant Witness, who uses swarms of constructors to pry the cryptum from her control. Ah, the place where the Master Chief is inside. It stays on Genesis as Cortana's guardian leaves through slipspace, unable to stop itself. Blue Team are freed from the cryptum and finally united with Osiris. Cortana and her AIs begin shutting down UNSC control across human space, using the Guardians to consolidate control. What? So Cortana is now the evil empress of the multiverse? Universe? What? She tracks down the Infinity, which makes an emergency slipspace jump to escape and find a way to fight her. On Sanghelios, the Arbiter, Commander Palmer, and Dr. Halsey meet the Master Chief and Locke, who disembark from a Pelican. Over a lush green world, a Halo installation orbits as Cortana hums. You know, the story itself, I mean, it's a video game. The story doesn't need to be extraordinary. I can see how this could have worked, but I'm pretty sure that the way the story already tells, the way they try to tell the story is weak. So Let's play Halo Infinite.